Hey, what's up everyone? Pokemon Master Ricky, aka Foxhounder N313 here. Going to bring you guys a kind of thoughts and opinions video on the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. It's not necessarily a review, though I guess you could still kind of consider it that. I'm not going to give a score. I used to do that on my old channel. I did a few video game reviews, but this time around, I'm just going to just talk about the game, what I liked, what I didn't. Try to keep it as factual as I can. I don't, I know I could get into whether or not I like the gameplay or think it's the greatest thing ever or not. I'm going to try not to get into that too much and just talk about the things that stuck out to me and things that I think most people would notice. Now, right off the bat, I played bits and pieces of the Uncharted games on the PS3. They never really grabbed me as much. Back then, I watched my brother play through all three of them, and I somewhat enjoyed the plots of the games, especially the first one. But gameplay-wise, they just didn't resonate with me. But I got the Nathan Drake collection with the gold PS4, so I played through all three games. I platinumed the first game, and I'm working on the other two. Or I'm working on the second one right now. I'm kind of going back and forth between that and Lego Jurassic World, which is getting most of my time right now. Fun game, by the way. But so yeah, I've been playing the first game mostly, I've played through all three. I've beaten the story modes in all three games, and just going for the platinums now. So where to begin? Okay, first of all, the games benefit greatly from the 60 frames per second. I actually think it would be hard for myself or maybe others to play Uncharted 4 and go back down to the 30 frames per second, despite having the pretty graphics, and the game does look good, the new one. But I think it'd be kind of hard to make that transition because the 60 frames per second make the controls so smooth and responsive. People don't realize how much of a benefit 60 frames per second is to a video game, but it really does help. So they benefit greatly from that. It makes the controls a lot more responsive than they were in the original games, which is good because they kind of need to be, especially in some of the heavier firefight sections of the game. The games all look good. I think Drake's Fortune benefited the most from the remaster because out of the three games, it doesn't look the best because it was an early PS3 game. So it definitely benefited from the remaster, I think, the most. That's my opinion. They improved certain textures and things like that. All the content's the same, as it was in the original. They added a few new things. They have a time trial mode, so you can kind of like speed run the game and try to get a best time. And I think you can maybe compare it with friends. So that's kind of cool. I have a criticism of that though, and that's that when I saw that mode was in there, the way I envisioned it was that when you play it that way, it removes all cutscenes and scripted moments and just lets you have a good run at it, let you go running free from point A to point B. But it doesn't really work like that. It still leaves all that stuff in there, and the timer still runs during these scripted moments that you can't skip. So I didn't really like that. I don't think it was as fleshed out as it could have been. Hopefully maybe when they do Uncharted 4, if they add that mode in there, they'll, maybe fix it so there's no cutscenes or scripted moments, but I don't know. So that didn't work out so well. The brutal mode is they added a new difficulty, which is brutal mode, and in that mode you have a very limited amount of ammo, and you pick up a very limited amount of ammo from the enemies that you kill, which makes the game a lot more hard, or a lot harder. And you can only take one or two shots before you die, so it lives up to its namesake. They also added an Explorer difficulty, which is a mode that's easier than easy, and I think when you play that you can't get any trophies or whatever. So if you're into trophies, then you won't be able to. You'll want to ignore Explorer mode. And they added this to all three games, and all three games has an additional trophy list, which is pretty cool. They pretty much all reward you for doing the same thing, like speed running the game with Donut Drake and all that. But they're nice additions nonetheless, and add a little extra replay value. One thing I like is that in Uncharted 3 they added the cheats to it. The original Uncharted 3 had no cheats or tweaks or anything like that, like the first two games did. But they added it to the remastered version, which is really cool. So I give them a thumbs up for that. They did a great thing by adding it there. I had no idea why they didn't have it in the original version, but that mistake has been rectified with the remastered version of Uncharted 3. But all in all, the games are pretty good. I don't, a lot of people herald these games as like the best games of the last generation. I don't know. I mean, they're at their core. I think they're really. I'm kind of getting to the opinion stuff here. They're really just kind of basic third-person shooters. The platforming is not the best part of the game. The puzzles are okay, but they really give you the answers to them, so they're not really that hard to figure out. Some of them will stump you and some of them they don't outright give you the answer. But for the most part, they're pretty easy. The platforming, like I said, is not the best in the world. There's a lot of times when you'll be aiming directly at an object to, jump on, and he'll miss it and fall to his death, and there's a lot of cheap deaths that come from that. So, yeah, the shooting is the best part, and that has its issues too. Uncharted 2 was probably the best in terms of, like, the shooting and the enemy AI, because the enemy AI was a bit smarter in that one. It's still not the best in a video game, but it was better than the first and third one. In the first game, the enemies have a tendency to sometimes run up behind your cover, which is not bad during the easier modes if you're going through easy and normal, but on hard and crushing, it becomes a real issue, and it just doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to do that without throwing a handful of grenades first, and they don't do that. They just walk up behind your cover like it's no big deal. Now, the first one you can sort of forgive because, okay, it was an early game. They were still, tweaking their engine. But then in the third game, it rears its ugly head again. And this time around, I think it was because they implemented this combat system that's very similar to what you find in something like Batman or Assassin's Creed, where you can take on multiple enemies at once. So what they try to do is have the enemies engage you in fist fights whenever they can. But that doesn't work when you're in a place where there's a big shootout, and you've got like 20 enemies shooting at you at one time, because then the guy will come over, drag you out of your cover, or try to engage you in a fist fight, pull you out of cover, and then they'll just shoot you up. And like I said, it's a real big issue when you're playing it on hard and crushing. I kind of wish they could have tweaked the AI a little bit so it wouldn't be so stupid. But yeah, that was present in the original versions as well. They just couldn't fix it, I guess, or didn't want to fix it. Of course, the online multiplayer portions are missing from these games from 2 and 3, so that might be a turnoff for a lot of people. But overall, you're getting a lot of content with these games. You're getting 3 single-player campaigns from these 3 different games. They're all very good. The stories are enjoyable. They're nothing you haven't seen before in a movie, but they're an enjoyable ride. Don't go in expecting the best thing ever, though. I think that was my mistake the first time I played these games. Was all the hype, all the reviewers talking about how great it was, and it was the best thing since sliced bread. But it's really nothing you haven't seen before, but it's really well put together. And once again, like I said, mucho content. You're getting your money's worth, and you're not paying. I think it's like $50. It's like $50 or $40. And if you don't have a PlayStation 4 and you want to get one, and you've never played Uncharted before, they have the Uncharted bundle. For $2.99. It's going to be $2.99 from December the 6th through December the 19th. They're going to have that in the Star Wars Battlefront bundle, but don't buy the Battlefront bundle. Battlefront just doesn't give you enough content, and they're going to nickel and dime you to death with DLC. I'm not going to get into all that again, but if you're going to buy a PS4 bundle, get the Uncharted one, because at least with that you're getting a good amount of content. It's all single player, so you'll still be able to play these games. Even when they shut the servers down on PlayStation 4, a few years down the road, unlike Battlefront. I'm sorry, I can't help but take my cheap shots. That game just really irks me, but I digress. Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, definitely worth the pickup. On a scale from don't buy it to buy it, buy it. I'll have to come up with some kind of review scale. Like I said, I'm not doing scores, but yeah. So anyways, folks, thanks for listening. I hope this video maybe helped you decide on whether or not to get the game. As for whether or not, if you've already played it before, if you really, really liked it, you would probably enjoy it, the collection. And if you're like myself, who didn't enjoy it the first time around, this collection might sway you a little bit. The improvements that were made definitely are to the benefit of the games. They really truly play a little bit better than they did the last time around. So yeah. So anyways, thanks for listening, watching. Subscribe to us if you haven't. Leave a comment below. Check out my videos, Pokemon Master Ricky, on our channel, on this channel. I have my own playlist. And my friend Gym Leader Ryan, check out his content. He has some great videos. And so stay tuned for more from him and from me. And I'll catch you guys next time. God bless.